Day morning, students will still be able to travel home for the holidays under Washington's new coronavirus restrictions, but their universities are asking them to take extra precautions this season.
We need to make this sacrifice this year so that we have the ability to get together with family and friends next year and years after that.
This morning, we're talking to universities across the Inland Northwest about their plans for the holiday breaks.
And I'm live here at the Spokane International Airport, and if you need to travel this season, I'm explaining what you need to know before arriving and also in the air to stay safe.
And we've found it, a little bit of snow coming down in the higher elevation areas. I'm going to let you know your chances of seeing some of that here in Spokane this morning.
Up with KREM begins now.
Well, good morning. Thanks so much for being with us here on Up with KREM. It is 7:01 on our Thursday morning. Well, less Americans are planning to travel for Thanksgiving. Typically, it is one of the busiest travel days of the year. So this morning, we want to know, what are your plans?
Are you planning to leave the area? Are you maybe thinking about staying and starting a new tradition? Whatever your idea is, text us at 509-448-2000. We would love to share your comments on Up with KREM this morning.
Yeah, and again, if you haven't looked at your calendar, Thanksgiving now 1 week away. This morning, we have Dana Marie McNichol. She is live at the Spokane International Airport. She'll be talking about some of the changes this season for travelers.
And we're going to get to Dana Marie in just a few minutes. But first this morning, we do want to check in with meteorologist Jeremy Legoo for our look outside. Good morning, Jeremy.
Oh, good morning, everybody. I've been talking about it this morning, some scattered snow showers, and I found it. And the good news is that snow is up in some of those higher elevation areas, maybe even one of the mountains we were at just yesterday. I know Jen's jealous of the snow early on this morning that's falling at Silver Mountain there in Idaho. So there it is. Snow's coming down. You look close, you can see it, and visibility has dropped because it's coming down pretty good at times. Temperatures, though, starting to rise. That snow level around 4,000 feet, so it's still pretty high up. But here as we scoot through the day, it is going to get a little bit higher because temperatures are going to continue to climb. You can see some showers starting to develop down to our south. We could see some scattered moisture here in Spokane. Looks like it's turning into a wintry mix as it moves north. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a few snowflakes despite our warm temperatures. That's just what happens when you get a little top-down cooling. That snow can sometimes pull down that cold air from up above, but don't expect it to stick. It's been too warm on the ground lately. It's too warm on the ground right now to get it to stick without having a snowfall rate of, say, 1.5 to 2 inches per hour. And we just don't have that. But what we do have is a little bit of scattered moisture pushing through in the next couple of hours. Don't expect much. In fact, we dry out by the middle part of the day and the sun comes out as temps climb into the mid 40s. And if you like that, I've got a great forecast for you coming up, but you got to stick around to get the full forecast and some great Up with KREM. I mean, Jen, it's a great show. Greatest show on TV.
You bet. I like that, Jeremy. Thank you so much. Looking forward to your full forecast. Also, this morning you're talking about La Nina, maybe our chances of seeing what our snow will look like for the season.
Yep.
So yeah, looking forward to that. Thank you. Coming up now on 7:04 this morning, we are following up on breaking news overnight. Police are investigating a shooting at the Centennial Hotel in Spokane. Happened on North River Drive. Officers say 2 people suffered wounds, and this morning they are in stable condition at the hospital. Right now, a search is underway for the suspect, but police are not releasing any further details. Of course, we'll track this story and bring you updates right here on Up with KREM. Well, Thanksgiving now 1 week away, and typically it's one of the busiest times to travel during the year. However, fewer families are expected to travel this year due to the pandemic. Dana Marie McNichol is joining us live now from the Spokane International Airport. Dana Marie, what do travelers need to know and be prepared for before they head to the airport?
Well, Jen, they can expect a pretty light travel season as health officials are saying to stay home during the holiday season. Now, with one of the biggest holidays just a week away, here's what you need to expect. Like you said earlier, they are planning less people to travel, as Washington and Oregon governors are asking you to quarantine for 2 weeks when you do get home from that travel. Now, Governor Inslee made the announcement last week. The advisories urge the public to avoid non-essential out-of-state travel and encourage residents to stay close to home. The advisory defines essential travel as travel for work and study, economic services, health, and immediate medical care. Now, just as a reminder, this is a recommendation, not a mandate, and there is a little way to enforce it. The Transportation Security Administration says passengers with a legitimate ticket and ID are cleared to get on an airplane, and WashDOT will not be enforcing the advisory. So if you are planning to fly next week, a spokesperson for the Spokane Airport tells us the airport staff is taking steps to keep travelers very safe. Here's what you need to know before arriving. Masks are required at the airport at all times. Masks, gloves, and hand sanitizer will be available inside the airport for free. If you don't have any haven't been to the airport in the last few months, there is new plexiglass barriers installed in departure areas, at security and customer service counters. There will also be available reduced seating in the gate area, and high traffic areas will be frequently cleaned. Now, with Thanksgiving almost here, experts are concerned about college students traveling home for the holiday. Research shows more transmission is coming from young people as asymptomatic conditions.
What we don't want to have happen is for Thanksgiving to be an event where a whole bunch of silent spreaders, ticking time bombs, get unleashed on the nation's airports and train stations and Thanksgiving dining tables.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has not issued any specific recommendations for the holiday for college students. Doctors also don't want kids to go home without a flu shot. So preventing that spread from coronavirus on campus, college to college looks very, very different. Some require tests. Some offer voluntary tests, and then others are just saying to check your symptoms regularly. We're going to toss it back to Joshua Robinson in the studio for a look at what our local universities are doing to keep their campus and students safe.
Yeah, Dana Marie, you said it there. 1 week until Thanksgiving means student travelers here in the Northwest are already thinking about heading home for the holidays. But universities across our area are reaching out to their students with guidance for how they should best handle the rest of their semester, starting with Washington State University, where school leaders in Pullman are encouraging any students who travel home for the holiday to not come back to Pullman to finish the semester. WSU's Phil Weiler says students and staff on campus have taken advantage of more than 8,000 tests this year, including more than 400 just this past Monday. And he says numbers have dropped dramatically over the semester.
This is going to be a tough holiday season. There's no doubt about it. We're not going to be able to do the things that we traditionally do. But the way I think we need to look at it is we need to make this sacrifice this year so that we have the ability to get together with family and friends next year and years after that.
WSU worked this summer to shift as many of their classes online as possible, but some students needed to come back to Pullman, like students who needed to use equipment or technology they could only find on campus. But for the rest of the semester, all classes have now shifted online permanently, so university leaders say if you do head home, stay home until the beginning of the new year. Now, coming up in our next half hour, we'll take a closer look at Spokane universities, including messages to students from Gonzaga and Eastern Washington University. Dana Marie?
All right, thank you so much, Joshua, for that. Something else health experts are worried about is just holiday traditions in general. Right now, they are recommending you skip them just altogether, especially those holiday gatherings. The Texas Medical Association did rank the risk of some of those favorite holiday traditions from a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest risk for COVID-19 and 10 being the highest. So we're going to start with the lowest risk activities. In the number 1 category, that's sending a letter to your Santa or going out on a drive with your family to look at holiday lights. If we move up to the low moderate risk category, TMA says having Thanksgiving dinner with your family or household is at a number 3. They rank ice skating at an outdoor rink at 4, and traveling by plane is a 5, which means that there's a moderate risk. Now, we do know this next one is a tradition for so many families, but taking photos with Santa this year is ranked at a 7. That's in the moderate high risk category. Shopping in person on Black Friday or hosting a holiday party with friends and family is near the top of the scale. They're both ranked at an 8. And the TMA says one of the highest risk things to do this holiday season is celebrate New Year's Eve at a bar or a nightclub. That's leveled at a 10. Well, coming up in the next half hour, we're going to send it back into the studio, but we're going to see what travel will look like nationwide next week, plus how grade schools in our community are preparing for students to return home for the holiday. All of that coming up at 7:30.
Dana Marie, you've been at the airport all morning. What's the foot traffic been like going in and out of planes so far today?
You know, it's been pretty quiet. There was one flight leaving at 5 a.m., so we had a rush there as our show was starting. But other than that, as you can see behind me, it really isn't busy. The security lines are completely open. I haven't seen many people walk through in the last hour, so those expectations of having a more slow travel season, it's definitely showing like that today, this morning at the airport.
All right, Dana Marie, thank you so much, letting us in, filling us in on everything we need to know for Thanksgiving travel. Thank you. 7:11 now. Well, this morning, several Moses Lake schools are on remote learning due to a high amount of COVID-19 cases. And now district leaders tell us if it has any connection to a super spreader wedding in Ritzville.
And the Boeing 737 MAX is ready to fly. Coming up in our next half hour, we'll tell you everything you need to know about traveling this Thanksgiving.
We've got some scattered showers this morning, but by this afternoon, we're talking warmer temperatures and sunshine. I'll let you know how long that sticks around.